Hi everyone, today we're talking about NIO stock and we're going to be talking about is it a good time to be buying into NIO. Now obviously it's an electric vehicle company that's in China, so when we talk about it that way, obviously I'm a big fan of electric vehicles as someone that made 250% on Tesla stock not too long ago. And obviously with it being a Chinese company, I'm a big fan of Chinese companies and the economy as well. I own JD.com, which is I think up 200%. I'm an investor in Alibaba, which I think is up like 40%, and I've just started buying into a new Chinese company called Huya. So I do like investing in kind of the Chinese companies, and I also like electric vehicles. So this kind of sounds like an ideal stock, So I'm going to be talking about that. Obviously, we've got to be really careful because we are talking about electric vehicle stock. And obviously there's a lot of hype around here right now. And I think this is why I'm kind of, making the video. Everyone's kind of looking around going, is this actually potentially a competitor for Tesla? Because when you think about Tesla, it's a great company, it's ahead of the game, but there's no way Tesla can serve the whole world right now with electric vehicles. There's got to be other competitors that do come in to a very successful area. And obviously NIO is going to be one of these companies trying to get some of that market share in a very big growing sector. And especially in China, when you look at China, China will want a Chinese car manufacturer. For them, they don't want to be having just an American company in China, especially when you think about the relationship problems that are going on right now. It's getting pretty bad between US and China. If Jeremy Kyle's show was still on air right now, they'd both be going on it. It's getting, pretty nasty there. So obviously, a great thing for China would be having a Chinese car EV maker out there to dominate the market. So we've got to just be careful about what's going on with the EV kind of industry right now, and make sure we're not getting it caught up in a lot of hype here. So we're taking a look into NIO, and I see a lot of you guys in the comments, like every video I'm getting at least one comment saying, can you do a video on NIO? Can you do a video on NIO? And like when I'm asking like what video you would like to do next, even though it's not winning, there's always NIO in there. So I thought I'd do this one out there because I know a few of you guys are wanting to get into this EV space. So we'll take a look at NIO stock today, guys. So as always, if you can smash that like button and we'll get stuck into the video. Now, I'll be honest with you, when I first saw like NIO at the time, I never looked into it and I thought this could have some potential, kind of left it there. And the next thing I know, there was a lot of news going out about NIO being bankrupt. And I thought NIO had kind of fizzled out, but I looked back, the stock's come back strong, it's at decent prices now. But yeah, like last time I checked, NIO was actually on the verge of going bankrupt and it had to raise money. So I actually thought this company had kind of like, done its journey now, a bit like a Kodak, because I know that's been hyped up and dropping down a lot recently, and I thought it'd just kind of gone, but it's come back again after that kind of fear of bankruptcy. So we'll be taking a look into NIO. Obviously the share price has gone up a bit. I think right now it's about $14, it might be $15 because I know earnings might change it slightly, but everything that I do put into this video is kind of fundamentally it will be whatever. If it goes up an extra 5%, the video that I'm making today will be fine whatever price it is at these kind of ranges anyway. So we'll be taking a look at NIO. Now first of all, it's a 16 billion market cap company, so it's not massive, but it's a decent sized company, a decent valuation on there. And look, it's got no PE, so I know we're talking about a company that has no profit, and to be honest with you, I kind of expected this sort of company to not have profit, because just of how much you expect electric vehicle companies that need to ramp up production and scale and infrastructure, it is very hard for a lot of these companies to go profitable so early on. And when I actually looked into the company, I saw that it's actually only been around like 4 or 5 years, maybe even 6, but not long at all to kind of get to the scale of a 16 billion market cap company to only being around that short of a time. I was like, wow, credit to them. That is a big achievement. Even if that valuation is a little high right now, when we compare that to the revenue in a second, credit, they have done well so far to get to the scale they have done in that time frame. So first of all, we'll run through some parts of the company. So first of all, they are looking at the self-driving feature, which is called NIO Pilot. There's certain features that are coming out, and it's going to, kind of get more advanced to where it's just, totally driverless technology, which is coming out. But they've kind of been ramping that up, which is really good. Everyone's kind of trying to get into that kind of industry and be the leader. Obviously Tesla are doing quite well there, but if NIO really want to knock Tesla out of China, then this is something that they will have to work on. So credit to them, everything there looks like it's doing really well. So that's another string to the tie of NIO that it has. Now it also has NIO Power. So basically what happens is this is kind of different to Tesla. So what they have is a battery swap station. So whereas basically Teslas, you would go and park up, you put it in the charger. It would take about, I think at the moment, now I'm not sure exactly, but I think it's like half an hour to get like half the charge and a little bit longer to get, you know, full charge. Basically what they do is they've got battery swap stations in China on NIO, as we're talking about. And basically what you do is you actually park your car into this kind of bay, and what they do is they take the battery out of the car, they put a new battery in, which takes about 3 minutes, and then off you go on a fully charged battery. So that's actually really fantastic that they've got kind of a better battery feature, in my opinion, than Tesla, because you're fully charged in 3 minutes. You know, when you go to the petrol station, I'd say it takes 3 minutes to kind of do a kind of, you know, park up, put your petrol in, go to the pay, get out, go again. That's probably about 3 minutes. So to have an electric car that kind of does that, that's pretty good going. So I mean, people argue that Tesla will get to the point where they actually are able to charge cars up really quickly, so you won't need the battery swap, which I do kind of agree with. But at the same time, at the moment, you've got to say NIO a little bit ahead of the game on that battery side of it as well. So the battery side of it is really fantastic. And when we're also talking about the batteries as well, like when I talk about EV vehicles, I like to know what kind of range these EV vehicles are doing. Like I'm fed up of seeing like Nissan come on with like electric vehicle that just looks absolutely shocking, and it says like the range is 100 miles. I'm like, who's going to buy an electric vehicle car that only has the capability of a range of 100 miles? Like, it's pointless. You know, electric vehicle cars need to be doing, you know, 200 plus ranges. And NIO is one of those that are actually doing that. They're actually getting, most of the cars are doing 300 plus battery range. So the battery side of it is fantastic as well. Something that could actually really compete with Tesla. So with the vehicle side of it, there is a vehicle which I think is called the EP9, which is kind of like a sports car, very much like how Tesla came out with the Roadster first. It's gone with a sports car to kind of get everyone excited, which is a very good management thing to be doing. It then came out with a ES6, which is a mid-size SUV, which is look like it's going to actually get replaced by another SUV later in the year, which is called the EC6, which has done quite well. And then also we have the ES8, which is kind of like a full SUV, which obviously is a bigger market. And they're also looking at a small sedan coming out later in the year. So the ranges that they're covering are pretty good vehicles here. And actually, when we look into the sales growth of these figures or the vehicles, 2018 was 8,000 sales. 2019, they actually managed to increase that by a massive amount, nearly 3x. And 2020 so far, they've sold 14,000 vehicles, which potentially, if it wasn't for the coronavirus, you could have said that they would easily be in the 29,000 mark. So year over year, the vehicle side of it is actually exploding absolutely huge on this company. So it does look like fantastic sales side of it as well. You know, we're not talking about a company like a Nikola, where we was, you know, it was all in kind of theory. We're actually talking about a company here that has the battery station in place, where there's a lot of these battery swap stations around China already built in there, which, you know, is fantastic. And we've also, you know, getting sales vehicles out there, a lot of vehicles coming up, which is, you know, really fantastic for this kind of company. I wanted to kind of actually put a video in of like the battery swap and how good it is, but last time, well, I'm kind of worried that I'd actually get demonetized, and yeah, I don't want to do that. But I wanted to put a video in of that. I think I actually did a video of Ultra the other day, and like they like demonetized me because I think I, you know, mentioned like smoking. But yeah, I kind of wanted to put that in, but I'm just kind of fearing about the demonetization of it, but which is really cool. So all this kind of looking, you're like, this company's actually, you know, it's quite really interesting what's going on here, and it looks like it does have a bit of potential in there. Now, when we get stuck into the financials, revenue did double, profit is kind of massive losses, but it is shrinking, so it's kind of moving in the right way. I would say the kind of worrying thing about the profit side of it is that it looks like it's not going to be profitable in 3 years, which is kind of a little bit of a problem. But the revenue is doing really well. The profit kind of worries me about how much they are losing. Obviously, with this kind of industry, it does take its toll to kind of a long time till it does get profitability. Like the car sales will have to be in the hundreds of thousands before it does make profitability. But it is kind of interesting what's going on. Yeah, it is just a bit like, normally I like to see companies that are going to be profitable in 2 years. Like Tesla, as soon as they came profitable, I was like, this is now investable. NIO, same again, it's quite far off profitability, which does make me a little bit nervous in the company. And then when I looked into the balance sheet, it did have 2.6 billion in cash, but the debt was 11 billion. So the cash to debt was, you know, pretty horrible, to be fair. Not a pretty looking balance sheet, and you look at what money they'll lose, what infrastructure they'll need to put in place, and NIO probably will need to raise money. You know, it's probably going to have to take out loans, it might have to dilute shareholders, but yeah, I can see why they went bankrupt, and it's definitely not out of the woods, because looking at how much money it will probably lose, it's going to have to raise cash, or it probably will go bankrupt. So it's not a company that's kind of in the most healthy place, even though that, you know, I think they will probably be able to raise cash. It's just when you look at it and you're like, it's not kind of near profitability, and it's not got a healthy balance sheet, and it's going to need to raise cash. It's still a little bit off where one of my investing principles is. It needs to be profitable in the next 2 years. And I'd also say that also, you've got Tesla coming in there with obviously the Shanghai factory, and also has the Model Y coming in, which will obviously take a bit of the market share in China when that does come in, and obviously it'd be really interesting to see how that could affect the company when the Model Y does come in to China and affect NIO sales later in 2020, 2021. So overall, my kind of opinions with NIO is that it's not a bad looking company. There's definitely something to get excited here about with the infrastructure it's got in, its power, the models that it does have, and it's building up its sales. Everything looks kind of really exciting in here. The big thing that worries me is how far it is off profitability, and that balance sheet and how much cash to debt it has. I think at the moment it needs to get closer to profitability for me to be investable, especially when you think about they will need to raise money to stay afloat and build the company up to a scale where they could actually compete with Tesla. But it does have some legs here. It's a very interesting company. It's a company that's definitely on my watch list, and I'll see how it goes over the next kind of 1 to 2 years. I'll also be a bit wary seeing where this Model Y competition comes in and how much it affects these kind of sales. But yeah, it's a very interesting one. I personally, it's not in a position personally where I could buy right now, but it does look an interesting company that if it does carry on where it's going right now, maybe in a year, 2 years time, and it gets close to that profitability side, it is one that could interest me. So overall, it's not a stock I'll be buying right now, but it's definitely one on my watch list, and we'll see what happens with this company down the line, and if it is able to get to the heights of kind of competing with Tesla further down the line. But there's a lot of good stuff going on with this company. So that's a video on NIO today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, if you can smash that like button, that'll be absolutely amazing. If you're new here, subscribe, hit that red button, that'll be absolutely amazing as well. And I'll see you in the next video.